Very interesting. Materialist philosophy. Student intellectual is taught that there is no God. Hey guys. I was just getting caught up on some reading here. I've had plenty of time for that here lately. Great book. Highly recommend it. But just want to welcome you back to the Hands-On channel here. This is our first ever emergency broadcast. The mainstream news is not doing a very good job of getting this very important information out there to you. So first of all, if you've never been here before, welcome to the Hands-On channel. We normally do repair videos, DIY videos, stuff like that. But here lately, because of this pandemic or panic or whatever it is, this attack on the United States and our sovereignty and our liberty, because of all that, I've kind of had to shift my focus over to some other things that I feel are a little bit more pressing than changing your lawnmower oil and stuff like that. So today we're going to take a look at some of the recent news articles relating to future disruptions in the food supply chain. This is pretty serious stuff. You need to pay attention to this. This is alarming news. It's been steadily increasing. Now I see news articles almost daily. And today I saw a really scary one. We're going to get to that at the very end. Be prepared. Some products will not be coming back for a long time. In some cases, I don't know if they'll ever come back. Buy American when you can from now on. Hopefully I don't have to tell you that, but hopefully you're already coming to those conclusions. We can't keep sending our money to countries that are possibly going to, use this against us. And if nothing else, even if they didn't do this, even if they're not 100% responsible for this attack, the way they handled it and the misinformation that communism is known to propagandize everything that they basically talk about. So anytime they're talking, they're lying. So just be prepared for that. You can't take them at face value on anything. So cheap Chinese products are a thing of the past. I'm going to stick with that. I'm not buying anymore. You won't see me doing any more review videos about Harbor Freight products because I'm going to tell people not to go there. Buy American, at least buy from one of our allies or some other westernized culture like Japan, Canada, even Mexico, Taiwan, Hong Kong for now. Taiwan and Hong Kong are under threat right now from China, Korea, Australia, Austria, Germany, etc. There's lots of places out there. Do your own homework. Buy from places that are westernized culture that support our values. Or even if they're not in a perfect alignment with our values, find people that we can at least trade with. They're civilized people and they're not, paying people slave wages and stuff like that. We knew this stuff was going to come catching up to us one day. So here it is. I'm not making this video to scare any of you. Hopefully, if you follow this channel, you're getting prepared. And later on in the video, if you stick around to the very end, I'm going to go over some things, some solutions, some, things that you can stock up on. And I've taken the time to make a list basically of all the different things and shelf life and some of the ways. We'll just kind of briefly glaze over some of the things that you need to do to store those things for long term so that you and your family will have the best chance to survive. So knowledge is power, and it's about time we all start engaging our intellect a little bit more. That means, you can't always count on Google and places like that to be able to look up your information and tell you the answers to things. You're going to have to actually, use your gray matter in there and make sparks happen. Whatever's going on inside of there, you need to use that and engage your mind and start really preparing for possible long-term food shortages. So, number one news article. I saw this 2 or 3 days ago. City mayor has forced a pork giant to close its virus-stricken plant. That was the headline. So Paul Tenhaken, the mayor of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, said it wasn't easy getting the world's top pork producer to shut down one of its biggest plants. It was tense, Tenhaken said. You shut down a plant like that, it has a pretty big impact on the food supply. So we weren't taking this lightly, making this request. He drafted a letter to Smithfield's CEO, calling on the company to shut down the plant for at least 2 weeks. The next day, the company announced it was closing the Sioux Falls plant, which the company says accounts to 4 or 5% of all U.S. pork production for an indefinite period of time. So they don't even know how long it's going to be. The list of temporary shuttered facilities includes a Tyson pork plant in Columbus Junction, Iowa, and one of the largest beef packers in the country, operated by JBS in Greenlee, Colorado. Yet Smithfield's CEO, Kenneth Sullivan, issued a statement that sounded like a protest. Good for him. We have a stark choice as a nation. We are either going to produce or not. Even in the face of COVID-19, he wrote, warning that closing such plants is pushing our country perilously close to the edge in terms of our meat supply. Several industry analysts, however, disputed Sullivan's dire predictions of meat shortages. So, the other side saying, oh no, nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. Meanwhile, this guy, Kenneth Sullivan, who's probably been in the pork business for many, many years, is telling everybody, hey, this is serious stuff. You better pay attention to this. So, number 2 article. Headline reads, amid coronavirus outbreak, Tyson Foods closes its largest pork plant. Tyson Foods on Wednesday announced that it will close its Waterloo, Iowa pork plant, the company's largest, due to the coronavirus quickly spreading throughout its employee ranks. There are 374 confirmed COVID-19 cases in Black Hawk County, and local health officials have linked 182 of those cases to the Waterloo plant. Last week, Waterloo Mayor Quentin Hart called on Tyson to shutter the facility, and on Wednesday he told CNN the closure will prove to be a positive step forward in preparing our country for flattening the curve. Hart said, this isn't a political issue, it's a humanitarian issue. Steve Stauffer, president of the Tyson Fresh Meat Groups, said in a statement, the facility is part of a larger supply chain that includes hundreds of independent farmers, truckers, distributors, and customers, including grocers, he said. The closure has significant ramifications beyond our company. Number 3 news article. 5 threats to the U.S. food supply chains. That's the headline. Number 1, virus outbreaks at food plants. One vulnerable spot in the nation's food supply chains is processing plants, where workers often stand in close quarters as they prepare food to be delivered to grocery stores and wholesale customers. Number 2, agricultural reliance on guest workers. America's agricultural sector depends heavily on foreign workers to pick crops. Last year, nearly 250,000 foreign workers were employed in American agriculture. And while many farmers are ensuring workers remain in a good distance apart, it is exceedingly common for migrant workers to bunk together in cramped living spaces, increasing the chances of an outbreak. Number 3, supply chain mismatches. Even as some grocery store aisles are empty and food banks clamor for donations, some agricultural businesses are resorting to spilling or throwing away huge quantities of food. Some $5 billion worth of fresh food and vegetables have already gone to waste, according to the Produce Marketing Association, an industry trade group. Some dairies have been pouring thousands of gallons of milk down the drain. People cooking more of their own meals may also be straining the system in new ways. People who eat out regularly could be used to a diet of sushi, tacos, pizza, hamburgers, and pad thai, whatever that is. I ain't used to that. I eat, regular American food. Anyways, not that there's anything wrong with that. But those same people are likely to resort to different meals with different ingredients when they're cooking for themselves. Don Schaefer, a food science specialist at Rutgers University, said some people have forgotten how to prepare meals. I mean, that's how dependent some of us have become on the system. They don't even know how to cook for themselves. I mean, whew. Number 4, increased food insecurity. Even before the pandemic began, 37 million people were considered food insecure, according to Monica Hake, a senior research manager at Feeding America, a hunger prevention group. The economic downturn from coronavirus is only set to make that number rise. With most schools closed throughout the end of the year, children who often rely on school meals face particular challenges. And, come on. If you're going to have kids, you need to be able to feed your own damn kids. That's the way it should be. If you can't feed your kids, except for taking them to school, you need to reevaluate your life. You've made some terrible choices. Number 5, crunch on delivery capacity. As more and more cities have locked down, the problem of how to get food into people's homes has grown. People practicing stringent social distancing have resorted to grocery deliveries, leaving delivery services strapped for workers. Delivery people and grocery store workers alike face increased risks of getting sick. Given the low pay and benefits often associated with the work, an uptick in COVID-19 cases among workers could make the positions harder to fill. So after this news, I was quite alarmed. Messing with my bacon supply ain't no joke, man. This is just part of the iceberg. If you don't know the iceberg analogy, this is the tip of the iceberg, and the way it works, a lot of times what you don't see below the surface is way, way bigger than what you actually do see sticking up above the surface. So hopefully that makes sense, that we're seeing the tip of the iceberg with this thing. A chain reaction is taking place right now as we speak. So if I haven't said it already, stock your freezer up. Get as much. If you like to eat meat, you like to eat bacon, you like to eat pork, you like to eat beef, you better get on the ball and start stocking your freezer up. The wife and I have already put on order to get another freezer. We only have the one on our refrigerator, but we're going to get a freezer chest because I like to eat meat, man. I ain't no vegetarian. I got to have protein or I get kind of cranky. So I think this is a chain reaction occurring in the entire food distribution network and production system. Obviously, I think you should, stock up and get it together. Okay, number 4 here. This is the one that I just saw today, and this one probably the most alarming news article of them all. Food supply chain is breaking, Tyson warns amid meat plant shutdowns. As pork, beef, and chicken plants are being forced to close, even for short periods of time, millions of pounds of meat will disappear from the supply chain, Chairman Tyson wrote in a letter published Sunday as an advertisement in the newspaper, including the New York Times. As a result, there will be a limited supply of our products available in the grocery stores until we are able to reopen our facilities that are currently closed. Millions of animals, chickens, pigs, and cattle will be depopulated. I don't like that word. It's doublespeak. Because of the closure of our processing facilities, he added, the food supply chain is breaking. So I'm going to read that again. Millions of animals, chickens, pigs, and cattle will be depopulated, killed. Because of the closure of our processing facilities, he added, the food supply chain is breaking. The word depopulated means humanely killed. Is already in play on several major farms in Delaware and Maryland, where 2 million chickens will be depopulated due to the reduced employee attendance at nearby Delmarva poultry industry plants, a local poultry trade group said in a statement. So, there were 4 articles right there. I could have probably kept going. I mean, there was at least 5 or 6 more that I didn't look at because they either wanted me to, subscribe to their channel or whatever, or, take their, turn my ad block plus off. I was like, no thanks, I'm leaving ad block on. So these are the ones that I found just in the headlines. If you type any of these headlines in that I said, you'll be able to find these articles and read them thoroughly for yourself, because I just basically pulled excerpts out of each one of these in the interest of time. I tried to pull the most important things out of here so you guys will be informed on this, because I know a lot of us don't have time to be dealing with reading news all the dadgum time. So let's get into some solutions here, because I don't like to throw out problems unless we got some kind of solutions here that we can work on. So let's talk about foods that store well for a really long time. I'm going to go from the longest to the shortest. That way it'll give you guys the best chance of kind of knowing what's up. So when stored properly, these foods can last a lifetime. White rice, honey, powdered milk, salt, sugar, wheat, dried corn, baking soda, white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, rice wine vinegar, red wine vinegar, raspberry vinegar, non-carbonated soft drinks, bouillon products, instant coffee, tea, and cocoa. Lifetime. You got to store them right, though. We'll get to that in a minute. These ones will last 30 plus years. Wheat, pinto beans, rolled oats, pasta, instant potato flakes. And probably other beans too. If you black beans, stuff like that. I don't know about lima beans, but I'm sure most of your dried beans are probably going to be about this 30-year shelf life. Look into that more. But I got a lot of this stuff from the Latter-day Saints. They're a really good resource for having a lot of this stuff and this storage information, because these people have been storing stuff, like 7 years worth. That's their requirement. I believe they have to have 7 years worth in their faith as a preparedness situation, So, I mean, I don't know what part of the Bible they believe in, but as far as survival, I mean, they know their stuff. So LDS.com, you can go and download a PDF or a file for your computer, and it'll give you all this information here. And I actually extracted some from other places, and from our own experience here. Dehydrated carrots can be stored for 20 plus years. And I bet you some other dehydrated foods as well, but LDS listed dehydrated carrots specifically. So this stuff's going to have a 3 to 5 year shelf life. Canned meats, canned tuna, vegetables, fruit, pasta, peanut butter, also ramen noodles, dry beans, dry brown rice, lentils, quinoa, baking powder, herbs, and spices. So you're going to get 3 to 5 years out of that stored properly. 1 to 5 years. Oils, butter, lard, vegetable oil, olive oil, shortening, flour, yeast, nuts, raisin, dried cranberries, dry blueberries, dates, dried mangoes, apricots, dried cherries, dried plums, banana chips, molasses, maple syrup, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce. I don't know how you say that. Cornstarch and corn syrup. Up to 1 year. Potatoes, frozen meat, fruit and veg, carbonated beverages. When I say fruit and veg, I mean frozen fruit and veg. Much like Tootsie Pops, no one knows the shelf life of beer, whiskey, and vodka. All we know is it'll last a while. I mean, Storage advice. Most items like to be stored in a dark, dry, cool place. We clean out 2-liter bottles, like empty soda bottles and juice bottles and stuff like that, like the apple juice bottles. Those are really good. We clean those out and sanitize them and dry them out, and we'll use those for storing our beans and our dry rice and stuff like that. A lot of times they'll come in a little plastic bag, but those plastic bags, they'll either have holes in them or whatever, and they're just not very well sealed up. But if you put them in a 2-liter and fill it all the way to the top, get as much air out of there as you can, and keep them out of the sun, keep them in a dry, cool place, those things will last you for quite a long time. And the nice thing also about things being in a small package like that is if it does come to a situation where you need to do some bartering, it'll be a lot easier to handle a 2-liter that's rigid and hard, and it's not going to break when you're traveling around to do some bartering in the future or something like that. So just consider that. And it's also going to put it in a really good packageable size that you can say, okay, that's a pound of beans right there, whatever, however many pounds a 2-liter is, or a 1-liter, or a 20 ounce, or whatever, however you want to do it. Kind of look at it like currency, or at least I do. Large Rubbermaid totes are a great way to keep things dry and protected from pests. So anything you're stocking up on, you need to think about that. If you're in a neighborhood that has roach problems, then you're going to want to make sure and protect all your stuff from that. If you've got mice or whatever around, you don't want to be buying this stuff to feed pests. So make sure and protect it. And they're also Rubbermaid totes, or those type of totes, those big plastic bins. They're also portable for bug out situations. So if you have to break the hell out of there, it's a lot easier to do when you've already got some big Rubbermaid totes full of food. You can throw those right in your trunk or your pickup truck or whatever. So another little tip here, store your surplus under beds and in closets and stuff. And, hey, it's time to clean that closet out and get what's important in there. Some food. Get a whole layer of canned food down there in the bottom of the floor of your closet or whatever, or under your bed. And, stock up on some of that water while it's running and everything. I don't know what's going to happen. No one does. But all I see is the dominoes falling all around us. And when people start starving, that's when things get really serious really quick. So be prepared for anything. Have some water, have some food. I'm going to say 6 months worth. And if you haven't even started this yet, you need to please take my advice. Go out and get it in gear right now. Don't count on the government to come save you. What if they can't? What if they don't? What if they choose not to? Your time may be running out. Go check out my videos about planting a victory garden and victory chickens. If you can do it, I recommend getting into some kind of livestock. Get some kind of food that's something that's going to put food on your table for years and years to come. And chickens is a great way to do that. It's a pretty easy entry level thing for people that have never done any farming or anything like that. You could look into rabbits too. That's another great source. They're one of the easiest animals for meat to process and clean. I'm not going to talk about that much because I don't have a lot of experience with that. I've just seen it done. I've never done it myself. I've seen it done. I've never raised rabbits, but I imagine they're pretty easy, kind of like chickens. So if you're wanting to put meat on the table, that might be a good option for you if you can find any. Because weeks ago when I got my chickens, I was having a heck of a time finding them. I had to go to several different places, and I finally went out to a farm and got some off of a farmer way out, like the next town over. You know, it was kind of a drive for me to go get them, which usually you can get them at pretty much any of the feed stores or Tractor Supply or whatever. And then later on, I ended up getting 4 more hens just because I started thinking, hey, maybe 6 birds isn't enough for the things we're facing. So, guys, I'm taking this stuff really seriously, and I hope that you are too, because, you know, I care about each and every one of our viewers out there, and especially our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, I welcome you to join the channel. Come on, add down in the comments what you think. What did I miss? You know, what did I forget to list here? I'm sure there's some stuff, you know. Notice that toilet paper wasn't anywhere on the list because you can't eat toilet paper. So this is the way we need to start thinking about things, guys. You know, our survival could be on the line here. And if nothing else, it's being pressured all the way around. The whole system has stress cracks in it. And maybe it'll straighten out. Maybe it'll be okay. I like to err on the side of caution, though, and, you know, pray for optimism, pray for hope, pray for the good things to happen. But it ain't looking good. So thanks for watching. God bless you and your family, and long live the Constitution. We'll see you next time.